We have multiple Bruce Brown trade updates, including the New York Knicks kind of stringing the Toronto Raptors along with their trade offer. So we're going to discuss that, including a team might be willing to pick up Otto Porter Jr. The miracle might happen. We might actually get something back for the Raptors veteran that just straight up doesn't play. So lots of stuff to dive into. But folks, if you guys want to stay up to date with everything regarding this team, over 56% of our viewers are not subscribed to the channel, and we want to keep you up to date with everything regarding this team. So make sure you hit that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with everything regarding this Toronto Raptors with the trade deadline just around the corner. But let's dive into the latest news, because obviously the guy that's been the main topic of discussion as of late has been Bruce Brown, and we have multiple trade updates regarding, his potential future with the Toronto Raptors. Now, what's the case? Everyone knows all the latest reports have revealed the Knicks and the Lakers seem like they're going to be front runners to potentially acquire him. There's been some chatter about the Dallas Mavericks, the Milwaukee Bucks, different teams across the way that could potentially land Brown. There's a big market out there for him, but the main teams that have been really reported on are the Knicks and the Lakers. So what's going on with these trade discussions? Well, basically, from The Athletic, a recent report reveals that the Knicks have spoken with the Toronto Raptors about Bruce Brown, leaked sources have said, but Quentin Grimes hasn't been a part of those conversations. Instead, discussions have centered around Evan Fournier and draft compensation for Bruce Brown. So that's what seems to be going on, in terms of these potential trade packages, which frankly, it all depends on that draft compensation. The New York Knicks are a team that, again, we had a previous trade with already this season. We have a few trades over the course of Raptors-Knicks history, and it seems like whenever the Knicks are good, the Raptors are bad, so we're incentivized to finesse each other's franchise and stuff like that. But not having Quentin Grimes in a potential trade package makes this a lot less appetizing for the Toronto Raptors. Now, Evan Fournier is a guy that, Bruce Brown, this season 11-5-3, has some value, but out there on the market, Quentin Grimes is a dude, only 7 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, but shooting 37% from the field, a 3-point shooter, only 23 years old. He can play the wing. He's a grinder on the defensive end, can play solid, defensively, and last season, especially for the New York Knicks, had a very promising season. Now with shakeups to the roster, lineup changes, falling out of rotation, falling out of favor for a little bit with the Knicks. Quentin Grimes, he's asked for a trade. He's not happy with his role with the team, and his development's kind of been stunted this season. He's regressed a little bit, not much in terms of efficiency, a little step back in terms of three-point shooting and things like that, and, buckets around the rim, but his points are down and all these things. He's not taking those leaps that Knicks fans were really hoping for. So, he's a guy that I'd be intrigued by, a younger player that spaces the floor, plays defense, has a lot of promise, has a lot of potential. I mean, with a Jordan Nwora on our roster, maybe he's less interesting for the Toronto Raptors in terms of making a deal happen. Evan Fournier is a guy that, if he's brought in, he is not here to... maybe he surprises you, but again, I've never been a fan of Evan Fournier ever since he made those tweets during the 2016 Eastern Conference playoff run, roasting the Toronto Raptors when they were down 0-2, and then Bismack Biyombo silenced this guy, quieted him, all that type of stuff. After the Raptors tied that series up 2-2, but that's when Evan Fournier fell out of favor in my sort of fandom of basketball. But Fournier himself, 4 points per game this season, is in theory a three-point shooter. Over the course of his career, has been a 38% three-point shooter, has completely fallen out of the rotation for the Knicks, is on an expiring contract, so that's the only reason the Toronto Raptors will pick him up. Maybe you bring him in, maybe Boucher gets dealt and you want someone that speaks French to appease, the Quebec audience. Maybe that's the route, so you're out there on the court, that's a wild take. But Evan Fournier, he'd be the piece, and then it all depends on the draft compensation. Because if Grimes is not in a deal, I want a first and maybe another protected first. That's what 2 first-round picks for Bruce Brown might be a little bit crazy, but the Raptors' asking price right now is a first and a really good player. Again, there's lots of teams interested in Bruce Brown, so we'll see how it all shakes out, but again, I don't want a deal that's the best asset coming back is Evan Fournier. Unprotected pick for sure if Evan Fournier is in a deal, but we'll see how that all plays out. Other reports regarding Bruce Brown include that the Lakers, according to Adrian Wojnarowski, so a little Woj bomb dropping here now at this point, basically that he's reporting on his podcast There, you can add Lakers to the list of teams that are interested in Bruce Brown. Lakers tried to sign Brown in the offseason, but they could only offer him $12 million per year, and the Pacers gave him $45 million, for over 2 seasons. While the Lakers could offer D'Angelo Russell, Jalen Hood-Schifino, and a second-round pick for Bruce Brown, a heavily protected 29 pick. That only works if the Lakers were to get another point guard and get Gabe Vincent back healthy. And there's rumors that they might be able to sort of pick up Lowry on the buyout market and things like that. Jalen Hood-Schifino is the guy that I think has a lot of potential. He's been a little bit underrated across the league. I've been talking a little bit of Lakers on Lakers Digest, covering some news for other channels here at Digest Media. So I've gotten to know this team a little bit more. D'Angelo Russell's been ridiculous as of late. Broke that down in yesterday's video. Again, doesn't really fit in the Toronto Raptors sort of timeline or anything along those lines. But Jalen Hood-Schifino is a guy that I wouldn't mind taking a flyer on. Again, not game-changing, not an awesome asset coming back. But if we get a 2029 first that isn't crazy heavily protected, but at some point we get a first, and then Hood-Schifino in there, not the worst return in the world. So that's that. And then also, basically, Chris Boucher and Bruce Brown are the 2 Toronto Raptors with the best chance of getting moved for a decent return prior to Thursday's trade deadline. But as of now, there's no guarantee either player will be changing uniforms. So that's coming from Michael Grange. Again, Michael Grange has his ear straight to the front office. He gets fed good information, he gets fed bad information, so we never know what to hear, but that's sort of the propaganda that Masai Ujiri is sort of putting out there to people. So take that with what you will. So that's kind of the updates regarding Bruce Brown and all those potential trade scenarios. Let me know who you guys are most intrigued by as a potential trade partner for Bruce Brown. I want some draft capital. I want some, and maybe a young guy. So Grimes in a pick, Hood-Schifino in a pick. It's not the end of the world if that's the sort of return, and then hopefully we can develop some players into something. But the second they were discussing in this video is the Raptors maybe able to pull off a miracle this season. And no, it's not the miracle of a tank, a miracle of keeping our draft pick after dealing it away in that Jakob Poeltl trade. It's not that type of miracle, but it's something probably even crazier because Otto Porter Jr. is a guy that just straight up hasn't played this season. Hasn't touched the court. Barely. Every now and then you might spot him in a game. It's like a wild sighting, in that Toronto Raptors desert. But he's a player that, again, is might be intriguing to a contender. Might be in some world. As an insurance piece, they haven't seen much of him over 2 years, but won a championship with the Golden State Warriors 2 seasons ago. And basically, news has come out that the Celtics are trying to bolster their bench. And elsewhere atop the Eastern Conference, the Boston Celtics have been weighing various options that could deepen their bench, according to league sources. Boston will likely be limited to adding pieces, though its $6.25 million traded player exception, with which the Celtics could bring in a veteran target such as an Otto Porter Jr., sources have said. Another name on Boston's radar is guard Lonnie Walker, who's generated a wealth of interest from playoff teams while playing on a minimum contract. So, again, Lonnie Walker's probably a more interesting piece from the Boston Celtics, but the Nets have been asking for crazy, insane prices as of late, as I recently broke down on a video with the Nets. So, Otto Porter Jr. going to the Celtics. Could we get a second? You take that deal and you run, Masai. If you get a top 40 protected second, I don't know what the heck type of deal. If you can get anything of value for Otto Porter Jr., you take it and run. Maybe you're high on Peyton Pritchard. I don't think you'd probably get him. He has a weird contract as well. Would mess with the Toronto Raptors' flexibility. I wouldn't be that intrigued by him, but I don't know. The Celtics maybe could package some guys together. Boucher and Otto Porter Jr., they've expressed some interest in Boucher, and then you get back, I don't even know if there's anyone on the Celtics roster that I'd be intrigued by outside of their top 5. So it's Sam Hauser would be a cool pick. Again, he can splash some threes, but they're not going to deal him up in one of these packages. You're not getting really anyone of value. If you get Jordan Walsh, that's a game-changing sort of thing right there. If you get Jordan Walsh, again, you can get Neemias Queta. If you can get one of those guys, then maybe I'd be down to sort of make a deal with the Boston Celtics for Boucher and Otto Porter Jr., but nothing really going to be game-changing, earth-shattering in a potential Otto Porter package, unless he's, paired alongside some other guys. So let me know what you guys think about all this Toronto Raptors news. You guys are best to make this far. Subscribe to the channel if you guys want to stay up to date. Anyways, I'm signing out. Cheers.